This video I'm presenting today is an outlier, and I'll explain why in a minute. It is extracted from this channel called Barn Club Cars, and as you can see, it's got 171,000 views compared to a channel-based average of 3,800 views. As part of this investigation, I will look at the baseline to understand why I've defined this as an outlier, showing you some basic metrics. I will then analyze the title structure, the thumbnail, also look into the retention, so the first 30 seconds of the video, and understand a bit more about the structure mapping of the first 30 seconds as well as the whole video. Then I will look into the negative space, what's been omitted on purpose by the creator, and also the payoff at the end of the video. I will then review the comments of the video to understand if the audience is aligned with the video itself. Then I will conclude and give you a takeaway, an actionable decision that you can also apply to your own videos. So first, let's define the outlier status by establishing a baseline and defining the outlier metrics. So the channel baseline is simple. It is a niche topic of car ownership, repair, upgrades. This channel has got 18,800 subscribers at the time of recording. The channel joined YouTube in 2019. It's from the UK. It's got nearly 1,200,000 views, 75 videos in total, median views of 3,883, so relatively small for this size of channel, and an engagement of 3.2%. And the engagement is calculated as the overall views, comments divided by number of views. So relatively simple to explain that. This is the list of the last 10 video uploads from the channel. And you can see the top video, number 1, has got 171,000 views, 4,000 likes, 963 comments, compared to the rest, which is much lower, with average views around 2,500 or sometimes less. And there is a small exception at video 9 with 9,500. So the rules that I'm applying for this video outliner are simple. I'm applying this to channels below 100,000 subscribers. The video age is less than 6 months old. Why? Because I want to make sure that if it's too early, it means that it's still not matured enough for YouTube. And if it's too old, it means there are external factors to consider. Outlier score is calculated very simply, and it has to be more than 10 times the median of the last 10 to 20 uploads. So it needs to be a good sample size. I don't want to analyze news or trending topics because they would skew the analysis. And the video needs to be long form, more than 5 minutes, so not a short, essentially. So the video outlier score is simply calculated as the number of views divided by the views median. So in this case, it means 171,000, which is the time of recording, divided by 3,800. That gives us a score of 44. And if you plot the other videos along the same axis, then you quickly realize that this video totally outperforms the remaining 20 videos that I've analyzed as well. So now let's have a look at the packaging audit. So title structure is I bought a car at a £200 car instead of leasing. 12 months later, here's what happened. So the format of this title is an unusual decision. I bought a car, an open loop, a time jump, and an outcome reveal. The unusual decision is I bought a £200 car instead of leasing. This signals a decision that goes against the norm, triggering curiosity for the audience. The ellipsis or the open loop is what creates a further curiosity gap by delaying the outcome. Then the time jump 12 months later, so this implies a real-world testing and credibility, not a quick take. And finally, the outcome reveal. Here's what happened. Promises a payoff without revealing whether the result was good or bad, so no spoilers, and the audience needs to stay until the end to really understand. Let's compare it with a non-outlier video. As part of this, I took this title, which is from another video in a channel. Can we make a big profit rebuilding this cheap mini trading up? So the format is slightly different. It's a challenge question followed by a process and a goal state. The challenge question is, can we make a big profit? Invite the audience into the challenge. The process itself is rebuilding the cheap mini. It's a clear activity and an object, like a hands-on or mini episode. And finally, the goal state is the implied strategy, the mini-series, the trading up part, which signals progression and not a one-off story. So a side-by-side comparison is summarized in this table. The outlier is a past retrospective time orientation compared to a future ongoing for the non-outlier. The hook type is different. It is a curiosity gap for the outlier video compared to a challenge question. And then it is a story and the audience is observing and the payoff is an outcome reveal. Let's now look at the thumbnail. So to make it easier, I've categorized the thumbnail in 5 categories. Instant comprehension. So every every category is scored on a scale of 0 to 10. For the instant comprehension, well, this is self-explanatory really. 0 to 3 in my scale is confusing, 4 to 6 is partially clear, and 7 to 10 is instantly obvious. So in this thumbnail, I've scored it an 8. For the emotional trigger, the scale is 0 to 3 means it's emotionless, 4 to 6 is mild, and then 7 to 10 is strong. And here I scored it an 8. Visual clarity and focus, 0 to 3 means it's cluttered, 4 to 6 means there is some focus issues, and 7 to 10 is clean, and I've scored it a 9. For the contrast and mobile clarity, 0 to 3 is hard to read, 4 to 6 very acceptable, and 7 to 10 is highly legible, and I've scored it an 8. And finally, the curiosity gap quality, 0 to 3 means no curiosity, 4 to 6 is a mild interest, and 7 to 10 is a compelling gap. And so I've scored it a 9. So overall, this thumbnail, I scored it a 42 out of 50. Overall, the biggest weakness for this thumbnail is the long contrast. The reason I'm saying this is because the first thing that draws my eyes is the 2 cars, followed by the 1 year later in the center of the thumbnail. However, to create more contrast for the cars and the 1 year later, I would remove the blue background or the road part and just make it a plain white background, for example, just to give a bit more contrast and make it more punchy. And the actionable fix is to remove the background detail effectively. Let's have a look at the non-outlier thumbnail now. For the same categories, I've given it a score of 5. For emotional trigger 4, visual clarity and focus 4, contrast and mobile clarity 4, curiosity gap quality 6, and a total of 23. So this is much lower scoring, and I think it's self-explanatory again. The biggest weakness here is an unclear subject. Not sure if you're looking at the creator or the car itself. And the actionable fix is to replace text with visual cues. So pointing an arrow at the car, taking the subject out, making the thumbnail a bit clearer, take away the logo, for example. All those are just suggestions. Another outlier video in the same topic as the first outlier video. So this is episode 6, and I've given it the score of 24 using the same categories. And the reason for it is because it's too much text. You can see the broken down and the hassle-free both the cars. You got the main title at the top. It's just a little bit too much text compared to the first non-outlier video. An actionable fix is to remove the background detail, maybe remove even the creator photo that has been photoshopped at the front and the center of the thumbnail to make it a bit cleaner. So overall, the investigation outcome for the thumbnail is clarity and curiosity beat information density. The 3 thumbnails repeatedly demonstrate that fewer elements is higher comprehension. Visual storytelling outperforms explanatory text. Strong thumbnails communicate one idea instantly, not many ideas slowly. The best performing thumbnails are simple, convey only one idea, are emotionally clear, visually focused, and curiosity driven, while weaker ones fail due to clutter, excess text, and unclear subjects. Now let's have a look at the retention investigation by investigating the first 30 seconds breakdown and the structure mapping. So for this, I'll switch off to YouTube. This is a channel, and I'm going on to this video now.
If you had £300 a month to get a new car, what would you do? Would you pay a hefty initial deposit and lease something brand new? Or would you take a loan? Would you buy something not quite brand new, but still pretty respectable? Or buy a cheap runaround and hope to make a profit by pocketing the difference every month? Well, that's the decision I had last year because I had a £300 a month car allowance from work. So I went for this, a 2008 Ford Mondeo Estate. In this video, we take a look and see...
Okay, so this is the first 30 seconds of the video. So how is the video structured? So essentially it is an A roll for the first 3 seconds, followed by a B roll, so looking at footage of cars, picked up from the internet or from general footage, and then followed by an A roll again between 19 and 30 seconds. So relatively simple structure, very clean, very neat, easy to follow, and very engaging. Now let's compare it with the non-outlier video.
We started this because I lost £3,000 on a very pretty little BMW. I bought it for my wife, knowing it needed some work, but it turned out it was an absolute basket case. So after throwing good money after bad, I ended up taking it to We Buy Any Car and selling it for £1,000, which meant a £3,000 loss. So I went to Copart and bought a caddy van, and we ended up making £500 profit.
So here it's a far more complex structure for the video. You got a series of A rolls, B rolls, all in succession, a little bit more engaging, trying to be more energetic. So totally different feel to the video structure itself. So as a summary of the table, summarizing the table here, we got the pattern interrupt. So this is important. It opens with a direct question that challenges a common assumption about the car spending, £300 months versus lease or finance. The promise is explicitly in the title, so 12 months later is what happened, a full real-world cost outcome. So why does this work well? The hook earns the attention through choice, curiosity, and delayed payoff. It blends emotional curiosity, was this a stupid idea, with logical payoff, show me the numbers. It avoids hype and instead uses credibility-based intrigue. The viewer feels like they're about to learn something useful, not just being entertained. Compared to the other hook, which earns attention through failure, credibility, and momentum. It feels more like a YouTube native type video and structure. It is faster emotional punch with loads of successions of A rolls and B rolls in the first 3 seconds, stronger narrative momentum, and a design for series viewing, trading up. So both hooks ask for time, not likes or subs, and they use specific numbers to signal honesty, and they commit the viewer by positioning the story as unfinished. So this is the structure mapping for the total video. It follows a typical approach format with an intro, a context setup, a main content delivery, a callback to promise, a conclusion, a summary, and a call to action. This outlier video is well structured, honest, and credible, but it prioritizes information over polish. It does a very good job of setting up a clear question, showing exactly what happened over a year, and then answering that question with real numbers and real consequences. Not much is hidden or exaggerated. The viewers can follow the logic step by step and decide for themselves whether the approach makes sense. Transitions are basic, pacing is uneven in places, and no drama beyond what naturally happens. It relies on a story being interesting because it's real, not because it's tightly edited or narratively optimized. Overall, the video succeeds because it delivers on its promise and builds trust. Essentially, it strongly rewards viewers who value transparency, detail, and authenticity over hype. Let's now look at the negative value space and the payoff. So negative space is effectively what's missing in that video, and maybe it's been done on purpose by the creator. A single explicit statement like, this is why this approach beats leasing financing. The hook asks a question, but it doesn't immediately state the advantage of the chosen path. The viewers must wait until the end to understand the payoff. A comparison baseline. The results are strong, but relative value is never quantified. Viewers must mentally infer whether a saving of £2,100 is good. A visual table, summary of costs at the month's progress. Costs are spoken, not aggregated in real time. Viewers must track mentally until the end. And a risk framing such as worst case scenario and who should not do this. Cost breakdowns are shown but never framed as decision risk. A simple decision framing rule. Example, if annual spends exceeds X, stop. The viewers get a story but not a repeatable method. And these are the creator assumptions. The viewer is comfortable with, or at least open to, doing basic mechanical work themselves. For example, changing the brakes. If the labor were paid at retail rates, the cost outcome would change significantly. The time for the repairs, diagnosis, or sourcing parts is not mentioned. The financial conclusion depends on time to be free, essentially the creator doing it himself. Breakdowns are an acceptable inconvenience. Some viewers would consider any breakdown to be totally unacceptable. acceptable. Access to tools and space is a given. This is not a neutral baseline for most viewers. If, for example, if you live in a city, I think you would find difficult to find a barn and be able to do your repairs. Mechanical failures are incremental, not terminal. A single catastrophic failure, such as engine breakdown, would invalidate the profit. Parts availability is cheap and immediate. The creator mentions eBay a few times. Some parts may be more difficult to get hold of based on the car or brand model, the location and timing. So the payoff, the value effectively. There are 4 types of payoffs in this video. The financial, so the saving of £2,161 over 12 months, the MOT has passed. The options, keep the running car, sell in the car, or continue pocketing £300 per month. The validation, did the original gamble succeed and not collapse? The experiment worked. Emotional, so attachment through the road trip. The payoff works because the question is clear from the start. What should you do with £300 per month? The video withholds judgment until the end. Numbers are earned, not engineered. So when the payoffs arrive, viewers have seen breakdowns, stress moments, unplanned costs. So the final figures seem credible, not optimistic. Pride in beating the system and satisfaction for making something old work. That emotional layer prevents the payoff from feeling cold or purely spreadsheet driven. So the payoff succeeds essentially because it feels earned, not engineered. The creator asks a simple question, show the full process without hiding the problems, and only then reveals the result. By letting the evidence accumulate before drawing conclusions, the ending feels trustworthy and satisfying rather than promotional. The viewer is left with a clear outcome and the freedom to decide whether the same risk is worth taking themselves. So let's have a look now at the public sentiment or the comment analysis and sentiment analysis. So when you extract all the comments from that video, there's a total of 682 comments with a single unique offer. I omitted on purpose the replies, otherwise it would accumulate to 900. But if you look at the comments to offer ratio, it is 102, which means it's a very high unique engagement. And then if you look at the keyword count for those comments, the word keep comes the most often with 226 entries, followed by new, cost, Mondeo, years, bought, and leasing. So it is a highly engaged audience discussing the financial trade-offs of the car ownership. The dominant theme is bankonomics. The data strongly suggests the audience favors the approach of keeping an older car, and the discussion is deeply rooted in financial pragmatism. So the cost with 168 words coming up, bought 108, and money 77, shows that the audience is evaluating the decision based on hard numbers rather than just statistics or aesthetics. The statement analysis dissects the collective advice and underlying logic of the 682 comments. The data reveals a unified, pragmatic voice that strongly validates the creator's experiment. The first data point, keep it, keep the, appear 150 times, which is a top action. The second data point, money, costs, price, savings, appears more than 300 times, which is a top context. And finally, the third data point, the negative sentiment, is only 8.5%, mostly non-personal and aimed at the leasing companies, not the creator himself. In conclusion, the collective statement from the dataset is, the math works. The audience sees the mechanical issue of the Mondeo as minor and the lower running costs in comparison to the depreciation of a new car. They are telling the creator to hold the line. This video stands out of the Barn Club Cars channel because it changes the way the content is framed. Instead of walking viewers through a mechanical process or offering instructions, it centers on a single, time-bound consumer question. Was the Mondeo worth it after a year? By compressing the story into a fixed time frame and leading it with a clear outcome, the video trades technical depth, instruction, and repeatability for clarity and resolution. Its success isn't just about better filming, editing, or energy. It is about structure. No other recent upload on a channel makes the same trade-off, which is why this isn't just a popular video, but a meaningful structural deviation from the channel's usual approach. So what actionable decision can we take out of this Outlier video? Well, I would add a simple on-screen cost ledger that separates essentials versus upgrades and mirror it in the video description with a pinned comment and links. The cost ledger structure would be simple, showing essentials, upgrades, running costs. And why would I do this? This is because it addresses the top viewer frustrations in the comments section in terms of real-world cost transparency and gives returning viewers a clear, comparable scoreboard across episodes. So that's it. This breakdown doesn't suggest what to replicate. It simply isolates what this creator chose to remove, compress, and delay, and how that differs from their usual decisions. If you have any questions, please leave a comment, like, and subscribe. And see you in the next update. Cheers!